if it's true.
Do I need to remind you what is out there?
Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. And in this world, that sort of shit's good for one thing. Getting you killed.
Hello, and welcome to You've Got to Play This, where we unprofessionally foist our video game special interests on you and each other. This is a spin-off podcast for listeners of UnCapt Gaming, and you can find episodes of this alongside all the mainline episodes of our podcast wherever you go to get podcasts. I'm your host, Phil, and as ever, I am joined by Lloyd. Say hello.
Hello.
And Dale.
Oi!
Yeah, you have to say hello because I couldn't think of any like roasty intros for you.
Could be nice for once.
No,
you're
I'm
always
about to
nice
just
to me.
roast the game that you love.
That's why, yeah. So you can find us lurking on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at UnCapt Gaming. You can see even more of our content on our YouTube channel and join our community on Discord. All of which are linked in the description of this episode, so do check them out. So the first season of You've Got to Play This, we are diving into 2013's post-apocalyptic action-adventure The Last of Us. Last episode, before we started, we discussed how I'd roped Dale and Lloyd into playing and what their kind of preconceptions and expectations of the game were. But now they've actually played some of it, and so we're getting into the actual meat of it all. So in this episode, we'll be covering the game from its opening moments until we leave Bill's town in the rearview mirror. There will be spoilers, obviously, so if you've yet to play that game, please bear that in mind. And if you're playing along with us, then you might want to complete each chapter for yourself, or the whole lot of them, before you listen to us waffle on about it to get your own experience of it. So there we go. So if we dive right in, before we go into kind of the specifics of each of the four areas and talk through what's happened and what we've experienced, I'm going to ask each of you to give like a 1 to 5 word answer on what you feel about the game so far. Can be as rough and ready as unprepared as you like, but go on. Very short and snappy. or not so snappy as the case may be.
Just trying to think. Forcibly invested.
Interesting.
My take on it right now.
I don't know. Yeah, kind of. Ellie runs the show, I think.
Yeah,
I think is
100%.
it is my sort of take on it so far.
Can I back up and give that opinion as my answer as well? Ellie is
Runs the show.
yeah. Ellie is
The Don.
the Don. Yeah, I like it. I really like Ellie.
Yeah, she's probably like she's up there with one of my favorite characters so far.
Yeah. I'd say that too. I don't know if we're diving in before.
Well,
you get your points.
I didn't want to kind of put you on the spot. I thought once we've finished the game, if we do like a kind of proper like review opinion type thing. So this is more just impressions as we're going along. And I don't know about you, but I always find that I can like or hate things at different points in the middle, and then that's not necessarily the same as what I'll think when I look back on it.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
like certain things, once you think over them more, they can either get better or worse in your mind and all sorts of stuff. So that's where we'll go to like full reviews. But I just thought it interesting that Ellie is kind of the main standout of it so far, which to be fair is I think probably fitting with most people's experience of the game. So if we start from the beginning, where all good stories start, we go first thing we do, and I think it's fair to say probably the thing that you both were kind of, I think, most noticed immediately is that it's quite slow start gameplay wise, like a very slow start.
That intro mission was one of the most dead missions I think I've played in a game. Like that was so dead.
Yeah. If the rumors are true about this being remade, I do hope that they will speed up the pace of the tutorial stuff because we're basically a third of the way into the game, and you've just got through the tutorial stuff. You've now got all the mechanics you need.
It's, yeah, like that is so long. Like,
yeah,
just the walking through, like, oh, it's cool in a world building kind of aspect, but you don't need that much. Just the walking through the town is like, oh, we're in this room. Oh, let's move a bookcase. Oh, secret. It was just so long and drawn out for what it was actually supposed to do. It does set everything up that it needs to. Like, I'm sure it touches on, like, the attacks from the Fireflies, right? It hits, like, they do, like, run-in missions. You know, they do things kind of...
Yeah, well, just before we get to the kind of first proper chapter, if we start with the prologue, obviously at the start of this, so at the start of this, you meet Sarah, who's sitting up waiting for Joel to come back. Her daddy, he's on the phone to Tommy talking about this job he needs to keep, and then they have this bit of banter because she's got something for his birthday, and then all of a sudden, you're playing as her, you get woken up in the middle of the night, the phone goes dead, and you're wandering through. Obviously, there's not very much gameplay-wise, but this is a very story-heavy, this point, as you go through the house, and everything starts to unfold. What did you kind of go through and explore, or did you go straight downstairs? How did you guys...
I kind of, like, just went into one of the rooms, and then I just kind of, like, I didn't really look for anything. I just kind of tried to move on as quick as possible, to be honest. Because, like, I know those, they tend to they can just seemingly go on forever when you're, like, just exploring and stuff. But I gotta be honest, I didn't really experience that in my first gameplay. As full as it could have.
Actually, funny enough, like, I kind of build up this persona that I'm I'm a fast gamer. I like getting through things fast. So I like being very aggressive and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to story stuff, I do like to explore a little, not much. So I did kind of walk around a bit, but I don't think I give it enough time that I think maybe was worth it. But that opening sequence I loved it. That was so good.
So did we go into Joel's room and then the telly was on and then the explosion on the telly happens in real life outside?
Oh no, I didn't do that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, completely forgot about that. Because I went into one of the rooms, which was because I thought originally Joel was going to be in there, like Kipping or whatever, and I popped in for a quick chat, and he wasn't there.
Yeah, and then you wander downstairs, obviously, and then the first infected that we see barges through the plate glass. Ruins that lovely double glazing. And then obviously you're in the car and then you're going along and sort of think before like that's knocked over and then you're on the run, like you take over. Now you're playing as Joel and you got Sarah in your arms and obviously get towards the end of that and then you meet with a soldier and the soldier gives given orders to not let anyone past and shoots them and then Sarah's the one who dies. So obviously, this is basically just kind of setting up the outbreak and then big feels. So
massive feels, yeah.
Massive feels, right?
Because like I knew, obviously, like it's kind of weird because like I know, like obviously because it's been out for so long now, I know what's going to happen. Like I know Sarah's not in there, but it's like, how does she go? Do you know what I mean? And then and that's how I kind of feel about. Well, I'll talk a bit more about that later when we get into later chapters. But like, it was kind of like I was just waiting for it to happen, so it wasn't like that big shock when you play it first time, which I think that's what this game seems to want to do, is shock you for the first time.
Yeah,
so it didn't have the same impact it would have had that I had with other characters.
No, that's fair. I again, I think I'm on the same kind of path as you, is where I know what the games lead up to. I know because people on Twitter can't keep things to themselves when it comes to spoilers, so I know what happens. But it was very good.
Yeah.
In the sense that it also sets up like how I suppose ruthless the game's going to be in terms of lovable characters dying. Do you know what I mean? It's you know, it's not going to like emotionally hold your hands in terms of, you know, Game of Thrones level-esque, giving everyone plot armor-esque stuff, you know?
Yeah.
People are going to die, and it sets that up really well. And the whole, like, you know, zombie coming through the window and, like, the shock horror of that, it's a very kind of classic zombie thing, but it is also very good. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that... Go on, sorry.
I think like the scripting of it is really good. Like you said about the zombie, like that makes you instantly feel threatened because like it is kind of your home's your safety blanket, and we've talked about this with other horror games like Visage and stuff, where it's almost like the home is where you last want to see a horror movie. Like the woods is fine, but like the home is where you're safe. And I think it kind of instantly, because that's like within the first 10 minutes, you're like, right, this game is not gonna hold back now. You know, I'm in it. And then with Sarah passing, I think that was really well done because it was almost like she was gonna survive, and I was like, no, and I was kind of like, when's this gonna happen? Because obviously I knew, but like, it was kind of like it didn't look like it was gonna happen, and then he kind of sees the blood and stuff, and I'm like, oh no. Yeah, so it was like, yeah, it's the scripting is incredibly good, and from that moment I knew it's just the same. It's such a slow start. I think
it's a shame because that intro part is actually paced really well.
Yeah,
because you have that slow start and then bang, stuff just completely happens. It just goes off the rails, you know. And then it goes into that intro mission that just, oof, yeah.
Yeah,
but no, the prologue was great.
Yeah, well, I mean, on that before, unless there's any more on the prologue before we kind of use your point there to segue into the intro.
Yeah, we can do. I forgot it was a thing until you mentioned it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's because obviously the time jump at that point is 20 years later, and the Joel we meet then is this hardened smuggler who's kind of completely different person, and then I just say it's very, very slow. You got kind of, you meet Tess, and you've got some sort of beef with some guy called Robert who please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks he looks like Jerome Flynn from Robson and Jerome.
I cannot remember the guy. I'm not going to lie to you. He was just very unforgettable.
He was also in as what's his face in Game of Thrones, Jamie Lannister's mate. But anyway, this is the segue.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I see. Yeah,
the resemblance is strong enough there that I'm just like, did they use that guy? But yeah, so that's obviously just to kind of introduce us to the world that's going on in the Fireflies, and I think unless there's anything you want to say in particular about it, because obviously the gameplay is really slow, but anything
irritated me was the fact that once you kill Robert, don't you?
Yeah.
The person that you need to find is just around the corner, and it's come on, that's just convenience for convenience sake. Like, you could have cut the entire mission in half and just had you running through the Fireflies, destroying shit to find her. You know what I mean? That would have been a bit better, but that just, as soon as they said, we need to go find her, and she run around the corner, I was just like, please don't tell me this. I was just like, I was just like, oh my god, come on. But yeah, that was my only groan.
Those things can happen, though.
I suppose they can. But it was just
like,
so convenient that it was just come on.
Yeah, I get why it's there, but I feel like it didn't need to be. They could have done it.
The funny thing is there. You get why it's there to save time. In a mission that's so long and dragged out, it's just like
I mean that whole sequence. It's like before leading up to Robert. Yeah, it's like it doesn't need to be there, but it's kind of trying to show Joel who Joel is and his like relationship with the world, because you've gone from this like really like this like arguably like a decent dad type character to like. Is it because he's a single dad, isn't he, as well in the prologue?
Yeah. I mean, it's never explicitly said, but you never. There's never any reference to kind of Sarah's mother or anything.
I'm kind of assuming he is, and yeah, and then all of a sudden you've got this like hardened, I hate everything. Like life is a disaster. I'm going to smuggle everything. Joel, who's like, and then so I think they tried to explain that through it, but it just didn't need to happen.
Didn't need to be so long.
Yeah, I mean, they could have Yeah, they could have just had that conversation with Robert, and then be like, we're going to lead up to the Fireflies, which would have been a bit more interesting. I think
it's just I don't know. Like that's what I mean by my opening statement of forcefully in like invested now. It's because I had to force myself through that little part genuinely to get to what I thought was actually pretty good. So yeah, we can move from that if you want.
Because so from there, obviously we go Fireflies, and then it turns out that what they want smuggled in exchange to getting the guns back is Ellie.
Her son.
And we meet Ellie for the first time. Things still don't really pick up until we're outside the wall. Now, because you kind of take Ellie on a little jaunt to a thing.
Yeah.
Very, very short thing, but that's kind of, I think, the first point where you've got no one leading you where to go. And you have this kind of a lot, because there'll be the mix as you go through the game of you've got someone with you who's kind of leading the way, or you're leading the way. And I was just kind of, because this is something Naughty Dog do in a lot of their games, not just in the Last of Us ones, but like they did in Uncharted as well. They don't have like waypoints and markers. They kind of build the levels to kind of lead you a certain. You could go off of it. I mean, I just how do you find that compared to like the more sort of traditional arrow on screen, go this way type?
I think we kind of see it a lot.
I think it's more common. It's commonplace now, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think because that was kind of how Gears of War was, and games like Halo. It was it was just linear, structured hallways, but there was like offshoots. So it was like kind of like. Well, I don't know. It was nothing like Metroidvania. I don't know what about that. But
that was a link. Whoa!
I don't know. But,
podcast now. Lloyd's explaining why Halo's a Metroidvania.
No. That's what I just said. It's not. But
I was joking.
I meant like the offshoots, because like
No, I get what you mean.
You kind of get those like and then you get the collectibles and the world building through that as well. But it's like
you're environmentally guided.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
I personally prefer that.
Yeah.
To arrows.
I think it's done well. Like it is done well.
Yeah.
Like I never once felt like I was kind of being forced in a direction. I just kind of wanted to go that way, if that makes sense. It was just the game was kind of pointing me in that direction, and I was just following it. It was never like you go here now.
Yeah.
You know? If that makes sense. Kind of makes sense in my head, but
I think I know where you're coming from with that. It's not the usual sort of because it's obviously linear and it's meant to guide you in a certain direction, but I think whilst making it feel like there's multiple choices of where you can go, but still obviously ultimately point you in the same direction.
This is going into the building now, isn't it? Where you come in and you first see a clicker. This is the first clicker, right?
Yeah. So because I think after we get the first like human encounters out the way, because we've got Robert's men, and then we kind of do this little escape from the army. Although that's mostly just kind of a stealth.
Oh, that was awful. That was so irritating because they like you walk directly under them where they can see you, and they're like, "Where are they? Where have they gone?" And it's just the searchlight kind of thing, and it's just like I get it. It's probably just because of the age, and I was just like, we've played games where it does it a lot better now. Yeah. So this is me kind of hating on the time, but I was just like, oh, this is. And then you walk through them. I get through them fine, and the next thing you know, they go, there he is! And they just start gunning you, and you're like, I don't understand. And oh my lord, I made a note of this. They don't reload. They don't reload. There's no reloading for them in this part. I might be completely wrong. There may be after about 7,000 bullets. But I was like, oh, I'm going to fight them and pick up their gun. You know what I'm like in games. I'm going to fight this thing because I want to. 8 shots in the bloody helmet, and he's just like, There's just no... Like, what? They need to reload. Guns run out of ammo. That's how it works. Sorry, this is a really small pet peeve, but it really bugged me in that part because I really wanted their guns and they were out of reach, and I was just like, this is so annoying.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, and again, I think it's clunky the time, isn't it? Because it's like, it's clearly meant to teach you like not every encounter is fight everyone and kill everyone. It's just get out of there somehow, and stealth and all this and stuff. But
I get that.
Like, I don't think there are any later on. But I think obviously I didn't know. I haven't tried to fight them in that area myself. But obviously they're invincible and NPCs, so they're just like, nope.
You can kill them. You can kill them, but they just don't reload and they just keep shooting you, and you just gotta like pop up in between bursts, just like so annoying.
But then obviously we get off from that, and then I think I think that's up to where you've played. There's no more human encounters now, is there? It's all infected all the way.
Thank God.
Because there will be more, but there'll be different. Well, we'll see what you think when we get to them. But so we meet clickers for the first time, and I know already from group chat messages that they're your favourite type of enemies to face ever. Who wants to jump in first on those guys?
I know Lloyd's really annoyed about him, so you go first.
Yeah. Like it's the inconsistency. I think. It's so like so it tells you to move slowly. You move slowly. Right, I've walked past one. I've literally might as well have danced with him. I was that close with him. Right, and then I literally walk someone. I'm about 5 steps away from him, and he's like, and then he's like coming after me, and I'm like, what? I'm just like, how? Like what? And then you need shivs and like, oh, it's just so annoying.
I said this when we were talking beforehand. But I think it's more, they didn't really grab me in this part. Like, I was like, oh, cool, they're just cool enemies. But when we get to the next part, I'll probably drop this point in the, when you get into the museum, I think they're really well done there. But they're cool. That's kind of what grabbed my attention, because the human enemies were just, they're trash. I'm sorry, they're not good. They were interesting, and I was like, okay, they're sound, but the inconsistencies really, really, really work against them. But they're cool. They're a cool concept. It's a shame that they're hearing and their clicks now only apply to like very small areas, because they're hearing based, right?
Yeah. So it's
the clicks are just to help them.
It says echolocation, although that's not actually. I think what it means is like it sees it from, because echolocation would mean they'd be able to see the whole area just by clicking. But that's a scientific aside.
But they can still hear. Hearing is their main thing, right? So if you shoot behind them, they'll know where you are. So you walk out of the room, you shoot a couple of shots, and they just stay there because they just don't bother. That's one thing that I didn't really understand is
they're very clearly. At least
put into a segment.
It's boxed off, so it does make it.
That's probably old school game design coming in.
Yeah,
so
I think
that. Yeah,
if they were based off more of an AI rather than a structured sort of program, I think they'd be a lot better.
Yeah, but they're interesting enough that they grab me in. I think they're very interesting zombie variants, which. You like, you kind of get the classic ones, like the big boomer, which, like the classic ones you go from Left 4 Dead, right? Left 4 Dead are the ones I think that kind of, you know, set that stuff up, or if not cemented it more. So you got like the Boomer, the stealthy one, the I don't know, the weird grab. What was the smoker? Is that what it's called?
Okay, yeah.
And the clickers just didn't really feel like any of them, and they were really interesting to me. So I really liked them, other than the inconsistencies. Until later on, and we'll get to why they fall off my radar heavily.
Yeah. Okay. So where we're up to? So we've got through a bunch of them, and then we go underground into the subway tunnel. And again, there's more of these. At this point, we know that Ellie's immune to the cordyceps, and that's why she's being transported. We've kind of been talking a lot about the gameplay, but I suppose we should talk about, because the story is still starting to evolve, and it's not a unique story. Like someone's immune to the thing and they've got to find a cure. That's a bog standard apocalypse story as ever there was one. But in terms of how it's shaping up so far, thoughts on?
Very predictable, but I think that's the fault of like the genre and the story they're telling. You know what I mean? And maybe again due to years of it, but very predictable. But like me and Lloyd said at the beginning, Ellie carries it, like absolutely carries it. At first, when you meet her and her personality, I was like, oh, okay, this is very typical and just okay. But she's just really well done. She's cocky, irritating. She's a teenager, and it's really well done. Really well done. And her characteristics and her interactions really carried my my love for the beginning parts, definitely.
Yeah, I think with like these stories, I think there's only so many ways you can go, really.
Yeah.
So like I think obviously it's predictable, but like what these rely on, and I think another good example is A Plague Tale as well, where it kind of follows a very bog standard sort of narrative.
It's the characters.
And the way they've done it. So like with I was going to say Stranger Things, with Last of Us. Season 4's out now, by the way, guys. So with Last of Us, it's the father-daughter relationship that I can see already starting to develop, and which is very much carrying this. And like Plague Tale was very much the brother-sister relationship, and there's a certain element of like arrogance to Ellie as well, which is really cool. And I thought that's sort of like teenage sort of thing
real
as well. Yeah,
it's real.
It's relatable.
When because we played Plague Tale side by side, didn't we? Or you played it just before me, and then I played it. And one of the things I loved about it is Amicia, isn't it? The main character. Is she just really felt human, and I think that's what I get from Ellie. Is Ellie she just feels human. Like if I met Ellie, I'd be like, oh, cocky teenager, chip on her shoulder. But she feels real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's an element of like she doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like there's a lot of characters that we have seen that are just kind of, I just suddenly know how to do this.
Yeah.
And I think because you're playing as Joel as well, it works really well. Whereas I think, that's a good point. It wouldn't work well.
Good point.
If you're playing as Ellie at the moment.
Yeah, because Joel's kind of, you can assume Joel's done a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? Fort clickers and all that kind of jazz. Whereas it's all new to Ellie, and do you know what? It's really interesting because they use Ellie like as in like, oh, they hear by sound. They're not actually telling Ellie, they're telling the player as a tutorial, but through Ellie. And that's actually the point that you made is a really, really interesting point. I like that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, that was. So I mean, and one of the things, I don't know how much it'll have shown up for you just yet. I think it probably might be more visible later on, because there's a couple of different things where there's like optional conversations where something will happen and then a little
Yeah,
triangle pop over there and you can talk to them.
Yeah.
But equally, if you do certain things in the game, like in terms of the combat and depending on what you do, Ellie kind of reacts to it as well. Like if it's particularly brutal what you do, or if it's like scary or so, and then or as you go along, she'll just kind of start like making weird noises and like humming to herself and stuff like that in it. Well, we'll talk about a bit of that when we get to Bill's Down, because I think we did see some of that when she was learning to whistle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that sort of thing again, because again, that's quite common now. Characters in games don't shut up nowadays. They just talk to you kind of every step of the way, whereas back in 2013 and earlier, it was like more usual. It's like they're talking cutscenes, and then the rest of the time it was stoic silence and just
little bits. Yeah. No, I think it's very strong on its character interaction, and it does it really well. In all fairness, like a lot of it I think it does come down to that. It's just believable, and I really like that.
So once we're kind of in the building with the clickers, and then we go to the subway, and there's clickers there, and then we kind of come out into like this main street, and then go into the museum. Again, more clickers. I think a few runners as well, and these are probably the first times where you starting to get encounters with mixed enemies, and you get some encounters where you've got to fight, other encounters where you've got a choice of what to do to get past. So, how did you approach the ones where it was kind of you didn't necessarily have to kill everything? Did you still kill everything?
Yeah, of course I did, but this, I do no. The first time I did, missed one and died, and then the second time I snuck through it, and that section dragged me into the game. That was very, very either well done or just well placed, and like the clickers, and they're inconsistent. They must have paths they follow, but they are inconsistent in where they're going. So you genuinely feel like if you've memorized the path almost, you're still taking a risk. It's not as calculated as it feels, and I really like that. I'm not a player that plays slow, and it slowed me down to a point where I was like, no. Okay, no. It did slow me down, which was really, really good.
I think what helps with that is the bottles as well, because that will take them off their path.
Yes.
And the bricks and stuff. So I think that's a good, really, like, we see it a lot in stealth games, like distractions and stuff. But
yeah,
I think it just needs to be there because it's just such a good mechanic now.
Yeah, no, it was that was a very, very well done section that led into something that again annoyed me with the clickers.
So I'm just trying to envisage in my head now. This is where you've got the wall there, and then you've got a clicker stood by there, and then you've got all the. Is this that bit with?
Yeah, and you got to get to the back to the left door to go.
Yeah. So that's actually like I really like how they kind of balance each other, because like I would focus on the clicker and be like, right, I'm going to avoid this one now, and then I completely forgot the first time I completely forgot they could see the runners. So I just I ran in and was like, I'm just going to sneak around here and then I'll shiv this guy, and I had it all planned out in my head because you got the listen thing. And they butchered me.
Did you go around? Because like when you're there, there's the hallway, and you can literally see the door you can go in.
And you can
go right. Did you go right?
The first time I went, I went left.
Or left or right?
No. The first time I went straight ahead, because that's when I tried to sneak around the clicker and all the others, and then left I went.
Well, because I just went straight ahead. I didn't even bother going to the other rooms. I just went straight ahead, straight through.
No, I had like 2 or 3 runners in there, so that's how they saw me.
Yeah, but I think I pulled the runners through when I snuck through. One saw me, and I think I pulled through that door and just fought those 2 and just went on then.
That's it.
Yeah, no, but it is very well that when they... I can't, because we're going through this chronologically. But there's a flip side to this that annoys me. But when they're mixed like that in a setting where you've got to pay attention to what's going on, it was very well done. And that's what grabbed me into the game. This section really, really grabbed me into the game.
Yeah, because I mean, just from listening, I think you might have been talking about two slightly different. Because I think I kind of mentioned the whole area between basically, once you first meet clickers for the first time, and then once you kind of going over that bridge because you can see the Capitol building, like sort of that being that area. So you might be talking about two slightly different scenarios. Because I think the one Lloyd's talking about, you have to clear out the room for Tess and Ellie to come down.
Yeah.
That's the one.
See,
yeah.
I'm talking about where you get separated from them. Me, sorry, I think I'm
once you're in the museum.
Yeah, my bad.
But yeah, I mean, I think they're probably the two biggest kind of set pieces of that area.
Oh, I see what you mean. Where you drop down and there's the load. I just attracted all their attention and just shot them all. Like, I saw it was like, yeah, no, too many to focus on. I'm just gonna kill them, so I just killed them.
No, that's fair.
Close calls, but no, sorry, I was on about part further on. My bad.
Yeah, no, well, I mean that whole, it's all kind of based into, because that's just one kind of continuous journey through, which is why I didn't try and like narrate every single encounter separately, because it's not the story, as far as the story is concerned, they're all part of one whole.
Did you find that was the moment that brought you into the game, Lloyd? Then, where the threats were revealed, the kind of, this is how the game's going to play out.
Yeah. It definitely, it was the moment where I'm like, right, I'm now ego's on the line. I'm gonna have to beat this bit. Like, it was the first time like I kind of felt like that, if that makes sense.
I get it.
Yeah, so
because you do like your stealth as well, don't you? So did that attract you in by there? Was that aspect of the stealth interesting to you, or nah?
It was good, like I said, because they balance each other out so well. Because you can't make too much noise, but then like the runners are incredibly fast, so you can't run because the clickers will hear you, who are even more annoying. And then it's just like, so yeah, they kind of, it was like trying to figure out the best way to go with avoiding eye contact, trying to take out as many as you can, because I just felt like you had to. Do you know what? Bravo to people who could do it without killing anything. Like, you're too brave. Like, but yeah, it was definitely the first moment where I was like, okay, I can see what I'm up against now. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. No, because that was I wonder if that's how a lot of people feel about the game. Is that's the moment you get kind of hooked in, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly where you start to feel like the mechanics are actually starting to come together rather than this extended tutorial bit. Which, like I say, if the rumors of a remake are true, I one of the things they hopefully will do is condense that quite considerably.
Did you, on your first playthrough, did you feel it was as long as we're perhaps describing it? Because I get the feeling that because I'm kind of waiting for things to happen, like
it's prolonging
because I definitely felt that later on as well. Like it kind of felt like I was like, oh, well, why is this taking so long now? But
yeah, I mean, the very first time I played that, it did feel like quite a lengthy. Well, the whole game felt quite lengthy, I think, because it was like one of those. I think it was the first time in years I'd played anything that wasn't Sonic the Hedgehog and started jumping into these. So I wasn't used to that kind of play. Whereas now I can kind of speed through all the areas because I played it enough. And I've been doing the same on part 2 as well, like playing through kind of really recklessly, but knowing which way to go to do things fast. And then be like, oh well, I've got like 1% health left, but I've survived to the next area, so it's fine. But yeah, the very first time, especially, I think there's it takes getting used to kind of that balance between stealth and moving fast. Because like, if you stuck, like, this is the thing that I found with it as well, like and enjoying the play, is if you try to be too overly stealthy and creep through everything, it's the slowest game. I mean, some people might like that, but it's really slow. If you try and be too aggressive all the time, like, you'll get killed quite quickly.
Overwhelmed, yeah.
Especially if you're in like areas with enemies with guns and stuff like that, and there's like from all sides. You just
okay, maybe.
whereas if you're good at like go up, go loud, be really aggressive to kill something, then run off into cover, do it again, and kind of like just like stealth aggressive, aggro stealth if you like. That's I think probably the best way to kind of play that a lot of that stuff. Certainly, well, from my experience anyway, that's at least. But yeah, obviously we get split up from Tess and Ellie because part of the museum collapses, and then when we reunite with them, we don't know it yet, but Tess has been bitten.
Oh, you knew it. Like, oh, yeah. Go on. Sorry.
Then we've got to kind of save Ellie from the hordes of runners, which, unless you've just attracted them all to you, I think it's probably the first point where you've got basically a big melee brawl all at once because they're rolling out. I think that's what, yeah, the melee combat as it is in that first game. How would you feel about it?
Basic. It's okay.
It's okay. It's nothing special, but
nothing to write home about.
Was it you, Lloyd, who was saying about you'd love a dodge button?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I completely forgot I said that. Yeah, it was desperately needs a because you said it comes in number 2.
Yeah, it's a lot more fluid. In number 2, it's just like you can like dodge, punch, and like get it and do all sorts of stuff. Whereas this one, you just got to kind of press square over and over again and hope that it doesn't randomly decide to give you like the RNG thing of like the this time the character dodges it and hits you back.
Yeah, I kind of don't think it needs anything as excessive as like roly poly and out the way and stuff. Like
you don't want to spam roll out of the way. What? Why? No, come on.
But like, because obviously,
do you want Dark Souls this? No.
Joel's like 50 and he doesn't particularly look in like the best shape ever either.
His knees are hurting.
Bro, if I roly poly, I'm not getting up.
He must have massive calves.
Yeah, but like it's just like even like just a boxer dodge, like just something to kind of get out of the way, push them over. Do you know what? A push button, like a push away, that would be like a good. I think a good addition.
It's annoying because melee is probably one of the best ways just to deal with zombies. Like the amount of times that I'd come into a situation where there was 4 or 5, and I just start tapping square until they're just dead.
I'm still waiting for him to go Super Saiyan and just start kicking when you get overcrowded, but it's not looking good. Just everyone blows away. You're like, yes,
that adds something likable about Joel.
Yeah, well, obviously we don't have like a Super Joel mode or anything. He doesn't collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds and.
You mean he doesn't go off to a planet in the sky with one of the gods to learn how to turn Super Joel? Why don't we get that arc? Like I said, it might add something interesting to Joel.
Well, like obviously after we've done that with the melee combat, then we kind of head towards the capital. As you said, you knew she was bit, and I think this is something you mentioned when we were chatting about it the other day as well, Lloyd, about the kind of the sit and just the sit and tropes that apocalyptic things kind of feed into, and someone's bit and then it reveals and it throws everything is kind of
there's it's 2 words that kind of I had to count how many words it was, but when they say it's fine, it always means they've been bitten.
Yeah,
or I'm okay.
I'm okay, like, or it's fine.
You're not.
She went out with a bang, though. She did go out with a bang, in all fairness.
Good old Tess.
Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
But yeah, like as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, she's gone. So.
Well, as we get to the Capitol building and we find that the Fireflies are dead and there's no way forward, that's where it starts to unravel, because I think you see until that point, Tess kind of must have thought, it's okay, we'll get Ellie there, they'll find a cure, it'll be fine. And then she starts to get desperate, and then she's like pulling and going, look, this is 2 hours old and it's already worse than this 3-month-old bite on Ellie's arm, and then like kind of she's appealing to say there must be something there, that this means something to get her to the Fireflies. And he's obviously resisting because he's that hard, as you're saying about his unlikable character, because he's at this point he's shut himself down from feelings and attachments. He's just like, no, that gets you hurt, that gets you killed, that gets you this sort of stuff. So he's just like, no, don't want to do this, don't want to take this kid to find some fireflies. But he's kind of forced into it at that point.
Yeah. It's a trope. It was predictable, but it was good. Like I liked that she went out the way she went out. It was useful to sort of like kind of have to show someone getting bitten, so we know that like every time Joel actually gets grabbed, there's something really risky going to happen. So it was good for that. Tess was a character, like she was okay. I wasn't too emotionally invested, but yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of again. It's kind of because it's the story of Joel and Ellie. You're waiting for it to happen.
Yeah. You just knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But then I did tell a lie earlier when I said there were no more human combats. It turns out because we then have to go through the soldiers now through Fedra.
What annoys me is fighting gun enemies highlights just how bad the gun combat and the actual aiming and stuff is in this game. It is very, very bad. Like, it's very bad. Like,
yeah, it takes about like probably just me, but it takes like half hour to like
line up a shot. You line up a shot, you go to shoot, and the crosshair moves up off it. It's just like it's very bad. The gunplay is not good. Yeah. Which is thankfully that the story carries the game, but the gunplay is just not it.
I had to massively up the sensitivity for when I was playing on the multiplayer. Because it was just it's so low. I mean, I didn't notice it as much as I'm a terrible aim anyway. but yeah, it is. Just that sort of very slowly.
It's not that. It I don't know. It just adds like this weird level of inaccuracy to make you go for the upgrades that barely fucking do anything. Like I prioritized the aiming or the better accuracy thing, and it barely did anything. And I probably should have just got the thing that stops clickers hitting you first time, because that's just so much better. But oh my lords, they did nothing. And it's kind of a shame in that respect, because I kind of really wanted some good gunplay and I really wanted some good thing out of that. Maybe 2 makes it a bit better, but it was not it. And fighting human enemies really highlights that, because you can't really get in and fight them combat-wise unless you're sneaking around.
Yeah,
and zombies you can.
I've been trying not to compare it to 2 because I feel like it's unfair to compare. Even though they made
that's completely understandable.
2013 game to a 2020 game.
And like to make a point, the people that absolutely love this game, I'm shitting on it knowing that it's an older game, so I'm forgiving of a lot of this. Like, it's not a be-all, end-all thing. I don't want to just be sat here shitting on it constantly. I don't think I am, to be fair. Like, I think the game's good.
We're having we need to talk through all the warts and all stuff, don't we? So,
but that is one of the extremely ugly highlights of this game, is just how bad the shooting and the combat is.
Yeah, I think it kind of wants to force it. Like, it's like you said earlier about it, like trying to be like not too sneaky, but also kind of needing to be a bit more aggressive and having that balance. Like, for me, I'm not good at gun games anyway. Thanks.
No, I was like, as in continue. Like, I'm agreeing with your points here. Not that you're bad at gun. I played Fortnite with you both, and you both slayed. All right, so stop.
That's a lie, you know it.
I mean, I did have like 17 kills to play game.
But yeah, it like pushed me to want to do stuff more, because it's really bad. Like, I'm not a fan of it.
Like, until you get the shotgun where your aim doesn't really matter too much, it's quite bad.
But then you want to conserve those for the clickers.
I call it my anti-clicker gun.
Yeah, anti-clicker.
Because I don't actually have to do any mechanics around a clicker. I just save my shotgun, run up and blow it to bits, and just run off. You know.
Yep, they just run away into the sunset. Yeah, I mean, little gameplay hints for the future as well is bricks and bottles are your friends, because with everything except like your clickers and bloaters, throw them at someone and then run up and melee them. They're a one-hit kill. So, obviously, if you've got like you throw it and then you charge someone and there's like 3 mates with guns behind them, then obviously you're going to be dead as well. But it's quite useful for like in that upper floor area with the soldiers, where like the way I kind of go there is go to the left and kind of go around them all, except for there's one in this little office you have to like stealth kill, and then there's just one in your way, so then you bottle or brick him, boot him to death.
Oh wait, could you stealth that part?
Yeah, I
just shot my way through it.
Yeah, I think 2 people is the most you need to kill, really.
Oh, well, I shot them all.
Animal.
And then on the bottom floor you can get through without killing any of them. You end up with so much more ammo and health.
I still think the game is quite generous of ammo and health. I don't think it's that bad.
No.
There's one thing I was worried about, but it's not that bad.
I think like pre-pandemic, there must have been like a chocolate thing going on, because I just find bars of chocolate everywhere.
I was going to say, you paused on chocolate, and I was like, wait, what game are we talking about now? Wait, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it says it increases the health. I don't know whether it's just like 20-year-old chocolates is just like acidified that much that he just goes really high and he feels invincible for that moment.
High in vitamin D. I don't know what you mean.
High in vitamin D.
Yeah, I don't know. If you find a 20-year-old Mars bar, don't expect it to like heal a gunshot wound or something.
Don't eat a Mars bar anyway. They're weak. They're weak chocolate.
I'm out of here.
Food controversy.
Here he comes with his dodgy opinions.
Well, no, they're not weak. They're mid. They're a mid chocolate bar. Like,
just why'd you give your opinions?
And all of a sudden, our entire listener base has just dropped off. It's like, no, not having this. Not having this slandering into Mars bars.
Well, you can't have it in batter, mate. Like, I mean, come on.
Want to make it mid plus?
Anyway,
if you could put something in batter, God tier.
Anyway, we'll move past opinions on Mars bars, because I don't think that does anything except.
I want to know what Joel's opinion on Mars bars is, to be honest.
He'd probably just go.
I can't live that. I'll die, and I'll eat it, and I'll get upset.
No, I'm not going to go into it, because it's although it's not a spoiler, it's a thing for later on. But Joel's big food love is coffee.
I relate to Joel a lot more.
Yeah, everyone's food love is coffee.
Yeah, to be fair, that isn't everyone food love.
Yeah.
Like, get with it, Joel. God.
Does
he like iced coffees? Is that his thing? I can imagine him with iced coffee.
I'm not sure how frequent like an iced frappe is in the post-apocalypse. You know,
just walk up to
a
zombie
staffed by clickers. Just be like,
yeah. I'd play that game.
Clicker barista.
Just extremely confused by the ice cubes clanking the thing.
Yeah, you got to bang the pots.
Yeah,
to show where to go.
But if you take one step too loud, they'll start sprinting at you. It's like, all right, Joel, calm down. Oh, he's kicking up a fuss again. God.
So we get out of the Capitol building and we escape into the nearby subway, which is filled with spores, which Ellie's able to breathe in because she genuinely is immune. And then we escape out the other side after getting through. And this is where we kind of get... Oh, you all right, Lloyd?
I'm just... do you know, have you ever watched the Scooby-Doo movie where Scrappy transforms into the monster at the end? I'm waiting for Ellie just to do that.
Oh, I need to watch that Scooby movie again, man. That's so good.
That's it. We've already ruined the twist, listeners. That at the end, Ellie turns
Oh,
into
is she gonna?
super,
No, because it
No.
risks being a Joker from Arkham. Like that was woeful.
Oh yeah.
But no. Obviously, yes, we've not spoiled anything at this point, except for the things that you've already heard up to this point in the game. But
Ellie is the Hulk.
Joel and Ellie have their first kind of proper conversation after Tessa's death, which is where we get a sense of exactly just how far gone Joel is when he's just like, nope, don't talk about this, don't bring her up ever, you do exactly what I say, that's it, we don't need to know each other's pasts, no connections. And that's obviously that again, obvious tropes and things that have been done 1,000 times. It'll be about those walls being broken down and the relationship forming and stuff, but at the same time, it's not really the story itself isn't the thing that people gravitate to. I think even though it's the way it's characterized, the way it's acted, performed.
It's well done. It is. Although, if we're going to talk about like, is it just me or is like Ellie's voice just so fucked up at certain points? It just sounds like she's coming through a speaker. It's just so like the audio mixing in this game is horrendous.
Like, have you got an example?
Like just like loud things are extremely loud, and it just like I don't know, like when I don't know, it feels like Ellie's coming over a walkie-talkie. That's how bad the mixing kind of sounds on her voice. Like the voice acting's good, so I'm not going to take that away. But it's I don't know, it sounds really bad.
What this sounds like is they've tried to do like a proximity thing, so the closer she is,
Yes,
the louder she is,
okay.
and
and it's
because.
horrendous.
But I think there is a certain volume that is just completely missing, and then you've got the top end, and then like that's how it kind of sounds at times.
So it's like
there's
the early attempt at this sort of because I mean I'll be honest, I haven't really noticed it, but if that's there, that's obviously gonna affect if she's shouting into the mic.
Yeah, I plugged my headphones in for like one day, and I noticed it then, and then I just never plugged my headphones.
Yeah,
in.
I'm constantly playing with headphones. See, I'm always playing with headphones, so I think I noticed that a bit more.
I see. But yeah, so that's where after that we head off towards Billstown. So and then this will be the kind of final segment that we get through in this episode. But anything more on what we've experienced so far before we move on?
No, it's good. At this point, I was thoroughly enjoying myself. In all fairness, I'm not gonna lie. I was actually enjoying myself.
It's always good. It's good when games are fun.
Yeah, it's good when you actually enjoy what you're playing. So that's a plus. Game developers make it fun,
Always
or just
helps.
quick dopamine rushes, serotonin rushes through loot boxes and stuff.
Give me those stats, man. Give me those stats.
Give me the stats. Yeah. I want to see Joel 360 YYY no scope a clicker. What are you doing?
Well, at the end, what we should do at the end of the last episode is get you both of your stats.
It'll be like watching a chip turn if he was doing that.
And then he'd miss by like a centimeter.
Yeah.
Aiming so bad. And he'd go, reset.
No, not again.
Yeah. But we'll have to get both of your stat screens and to see how many kills you've had and how many times you've died and stuff. We can do that at the end of...
No.
I don't think I've died that much.
Don't worry, Lloyd. It can't be anything compared to how many times I died when I first played it on grounded difficulty.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a difference, man. I'm playing it on like normal, hard, or something.
Yeah, but it's the first time, and it's playing like a 7-year-old game. So
yeah, that's true.
We
don't judge. It's just for science.
Is the next part going into the graveyard now? Because you start that little town, and that's
yeah, it's like in the middle of it.
Yeah, almost, because we go into the town. We don't find Bill straight away. What we find is this town which is riddled with traps and tripwires and all that sort of stuff. And obviously, given the kind of person that Bill is, very paranoid loner. Although there is a nice little conversation about gnomes if you go to the left at the start. Like there's a little area with gnomes and a fairy, and Ellie talks about like how she thinks gnomes are cute, but not fairies. They give her the creeps.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And then there's like you can also find an arcade machine which calls back to. Well, I say calls back to. It calls back from Ellie's point of view a memory, which is something you can experience in the Left Behind DLC. To do with a friend who, again, I won't say any more of because we don't know any of this yet. And then we kind of go through, and then the last trap we encounter before we encounter Bill is Joel ends up upside down.
Oh, yeah.
That was so annoying.
Yeah, because the only way you could kill people was shooting, and the shooting's bad, and then...
and it just doesn't seem to... I might be being so stupid, but how the fuck do you reload?
You don't aim, and you press R1.
Oh, go away. I've just been emptying the clips and just dealing with it that way. Like, why is it not square?
You can't reload on this bit anyway.
Yeah. And then,
I think you can, like, because as long as you're not aiming, if you press R2, it should reload.
Didn't work for me. I tried it.
Because I had to get this down to a fine art, because you know the way, like, when if a runner comes up to you while you're upside down, and like, you have to press square to like push them away.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're playing on the highest difficulty, you don't get that moment. If a runner reaches you, you're dead. So you have to like and there's no checkpoints in the middle either. You have to do the whole thing,
and that's every ounce of replay value gone from the game for me.
That's just making the game hard because of a bad system.
So yeah, you have to like get them down and then make sure that you're not reloading while they're coming at you. Otherwise, because you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was annoying.
That's intensely frustrating on especially on harder difficulties. But I'm glad it's still frustrating on normal too.
And I don't get what she's actually doing with the rope. I don't know whether she. It looks like she's hugging it. I don't. She's just like, hey! And I'm like, she's having the time of her life, and I'm not hanging upside down here. Like, what's going on? But she's not cutting it. And if she is, she needs a sharper knife.
If she is, she needs to actually like put some muscle into her. Like, jeez, man.
God, these kids these days.
I know! Not knowing how to cut a rope with a toothpick. Who do they think they are?
He does eventually manage, though, when you fall to the ground only for a runner to jump on you, and then its head to come like half off because you meet Bill, who's like, get off your ass and on your feet.
Whoever gave him a machete was the worst present he's ever had. Because it's all he ever bloody uses, and it's completely useless.
And he's so bad. Like, the AI is something else in this game. Oh my lord. It's to a point where it's funny.
All I said about is the Ellie moment. Oh my god, I'm going to forget.
Go on.
So, like, I'm stood there, right? And I'm just like, I'm minding my business. I'm trying to learn where the clickers are. And next thing you know, this face just appears on the, and you know, like, so say if I came out and I like did this, that's what she looked like, and I never jumped so much in my life. I was like, oh my god, it's actually Lydia from Skyrim.
Yes, she is. Oh my lord.
Yeah, but like, and I don't know, it was just, it scared the shit out of me, to be honest.
Yeah, the AI is lacking. Again, there's something of its time, but it makes us some funny moments. Like later on, I won't say where. But like, I'm trying to slightly sneak, and just Ellie and Bill run out by this clicker, and nothing happens.
Roam. Yeah, they roam,
the clicker just continues looking for me. And it's like, what's going on? Like, oh my god!
He wants the scent of a man.
He wants the most boring guy in the game.
You're the only one who has any kind of sense around, the others don't really exist.
Oh my lords, is this like a what's that film where they're ghosts? I think he's a ghost.
Sixth Sense.
Are they actually ghosts?
Yeah, she's not really infected.
They're all in his mind.
Ellie and oh my god, Ellie and Bill are just a figment of his chocolate acid-filled nightmares.
Although why you'd imagine Bill as, I mean, as a character, I think he's a really interesting, but his AI, oh my god, like,
Oh, it's just.
I think
Whoa.
He's got a shotgun and he doesn't bloody use it. Like,
so. I mean, I think his gameplay, like, is unless there's it. I don't remember it happening earlier, but this is the first point where I remember that your partner can get grabbed, and then the little plus sign will appear above the head with like a timer thing saying that they need help. Nobody gets that in the whole game as much as Bill.
Oh, yeah, but I just leave him
Bill.
because things will just go around him, and you can just deal with the one or two that run after you, and you just leave him for a sec, shoot once, and then they're off.
Although if the red meter around the plus sign runs out, he does get killed, and then that's your game over to start the bit again.
Why is it my game over? I don't care about him. Do you know what I mean? Just loot those keys from
the
him.
story wants Bill alive.
Goddamn story.
So yeah, but obviously we then, because Bill's are capped to a car, which means we have to go to the other side of town, which is full of infected, in order to get one from a military vehicle that's crashed, and hopefully start it all up. So what's your opinion of Bill before we go into this area, before we start talking about things which I can see have already got you laughing?
He's a nice guy. I was
interesting.
I was actually laughing at how you've gone from the person showing up like right in front of you, and you're like, "Oh, we need to find this person," and she's like, "Yeah," and then you've gone from let's go and look at every bloody car in the state, and we can't find a battery. Like your luck's all over the place in this game.
Yeah. And we're gonna go find Bill. Bill finds you. But that's a big thing because there's a commotion and he's very paranoid. So I kind of like Bill.
I like Bill. I like. Yeah,
the bit
the way
where him and Ellie have that fight, and like he's like, "Get the fuck off me!" and attacks him with the pipe.
Yeah, that's where I really started to like Ellie. That was the moment where, like, I liked Ellie beforehand, but that's where I really started to like her because she doesn't care.
Yeah,
she really doesn't, and I like that. She just you know, she just yeah. But
I think I think there's this like naivety of how she's supposed to be strong, if that makes sense. How she's supposed to act. So like the way she is, like she kind of like she's just very much like Attack on First Sight sort of thing. With and that scene shows there, like there's a bit of like there is that naivety there with her, and like she's and then like she's almost over exerting this like strong persona as well, if that makes sense. Like she's her own, her own person. She can stand up for herself. She doesn't really need Joel, but like I'm sure later on we'll kind of figure out that like they need each other, and it's all walking into the sunshine sort of thing. But like it's like I think it's kind of coming from two ends of like this strong person sort of personas. I think
that scared the shit out of me.
I thought I'd click on that.
I muted that. How did you hear it?
No,
you're gonna have to like cut that out because that'll scare the shit out of people. But I get what you mean. It's kind of like with her situation, you'd expect her to be vulnerable, a lot more vulnerable, but she's almost to the point where she realizes she's vulnerable. She doesn't care. Well, she does care, but her thing is she's got to be strong, so she just overthings that strength.
That's right. Yeah,
and it's really well done. I think when you were like laughing about Bill, I think it was because I was copying Lloyd's every movement, and I think he was starting to notice. I thought that's why he was laughing.
Wait, what?
Did you not see? Don't worry. Go watch the video back. When you were putting your hand on your face, I was copying the exact movement, and I was moving as you were, and you started laughing. I thought you were laughing at that.
No,
Sorry.
You're not funny. Like, what would I
Wow.
Come on.
Everyone disliked this video.
Can't dislike anyone.
But yeah, so I mean, and we get lots of little banter as well. Like after we go out, there's like before we get the shotguns, there's like that little attack in the road, and then afterwards, Bill starts muttering to himself about fixing the traps. So this is what happens when you neglect the small things. And then now he's like, and now he's talking to himself, and Joel has to be like,
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
come on,
there's
back on
this
track,
very
back
good
on focus.
very good character interaction. In all fairness,
And he's also obviously making. Where's Tess? Why did Tess wouldn't have agreed to this? You're gonna get yourself killed, caring for this brat kid, and again, all that kind of mentality.
Yep.
No,
it's cool. I also like. It might be a bit of a spoiler for a bit further on because I watched the cutscene leading into the next mission, so I might retract what I was going to say. So don't worry.
Oh, it's okay. We'll save future spoilers for the future, I guess.
We will save future spoilers for when they are no longer spoilers.
Yes, that's what we'll do. That's how we'll do it. So yeah, then we get shotguns and nail bombs. And we are heading up into the suburbs of Billstown, which is actually Lincoln, Massachusetts.
Mm.
I couldn't remember.
I'm not great with American geography, to be honest. So.
No, I'm really not. But this section, because you're going into the church now, right? This is into the church,
yeah, you
the
got
graveyard.
The graveyard, and then the like suburby bit, and then the high school.
This made me hate the clickers, not because like the fact that they're one shot kill is bullshit. The fact that they're so inconsistent with when that one shot kill hits is bullshit. Is because what they're actually there to do, it'd be like this scary presence that you've got to work your way around and be this really intimidating force. They just throw them into every situation and their impact gets taken away because they're just overused then. If that makes sense. This is where like I want them to be in those situations where you go into buildings and you're like, there's a clicker in here. Oh shit. Okay. I need to think. Not just they're everywhere. They're one in 3 zombies is a clicker. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. I
feel like them as enemies could have been used a lot better than just scattered into areas to make them harder. You know what I mean?
I think if there was a different strand of clicker that could be used, I don't think. Yeah, I think they needed another strand of clicker because, like, I think
another strand of zombie.
Yeah, because like I think that the graveyard thing, I kind of understand why they're there because it does work. It's annoying, but it does work. But then, like you said, it does kind of wear that thing down. So I think there needs to be that kind of middle ground almost.
Yeah. But it's like when you push on further in this mission, not too far, but they're just like in every single zombie group. And that's where the whole stealth against them thing and the inconsistencies with their hearing and that, it becomes very apparent on this part. This is the part that it gets very apparent on how weak that is.
Is that still the graveyard?
Yeah, I'm on about just where you kind of push outside the graveyard and you come into the houses.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes very, very apparent how weak that is. But like,
because you've got like boxed off, even though it's one area up to the doggy door where they have to cut the rope between there. There's like several boxed off bits which they've got their own like little territories to wander around, haven't they?
Yeah. But that's what I mean, is they could have been used so well in those houses just to like have one in one of them. And you go into them to explore, and the next thing you hear is you hear the clicking and you're like, uh-oh. It makes them a lot more scarier and a lot more impactful rather than just you have a clicker, there's a clicker, there's another clicker. You all get clickers. They're just one-shot things, and it took away the impact I felt from them in the first mission or two. Like I was genuinely at the beginning genuinely scared about them. I was like, oh, this is something, and then that's just taken away.
I think as well, if you kept using the runners as much as you did, if you replaced that scene with the runners, it would equally be as it wouldn't have had that same impact, I don't think.
No, but it only has that same impact because of the one-hit kill that makes it slightly artificially difficult. That's the only reason it has that impact. It's not a good segment. It's just we're putting a bunch of clickers here, and you have to deal with that. Which it works, but it just takes away their impact for me.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but I think the difficulty they probably would have had is that again the clickers aren't meant to be like a mini boss. They're just meant to mix.
See, that's the thing is I'm not kind of thinking them as a mini boss. Well, I guess kind of I am. I guess more I'm thinking they would be really cool as a more frequent witch from Left 4 Dead kind of thing. That's what they felt like they were building them for me. Is this? They're very scary. They're going to kill you. You need to be very careful. But they're just a common occurrence. I think in my head, those intro missions built them to be something incredible, but they're just annoying regular things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you had different expectations of them.
Yeah. That may be down to me.
I think that just comes down to the difficulty slider almost, coming into difficulty improving over progression. Because I think if you had the did I just break up then?
I know we heard you fine when you froze.
Lost my face. So because the runners don't have any much impact at all. There's none. They're very easy to do. But then I don't think that would work as well. I think that would be if you just I think you needed to have. Like I said, there needs to be a thing between the clicker and the boomer. Is it the boomer, the next one?
The bloater.
Bloater, sorry, yeah. I think there needs...
Yeah, again, there sort of is in this one, and then Left Behind as well, although it doesn't get properly introduced and done well till 2. Because there's actually 4 stages, so there's Runner, Stalker, Bloater, but again, we don't really. There's one section we see stalkers, sort of, but they're not really the same as they're properly fully rounded because they're fully rounded out.
They mentioned stalkers very early in the game, though.
Yeah, they kind of sneak and attack you in a sort of animalistic, try and take you by surprise kind of way, rather than just the frenzy of the runners or the clickers trying to echo you out or whatever.
Yeah.
That's probably not the way that those words should be used, but you know what I mean.
I get it. But no, I just feel like the clickers could have had a much better a better impact on the gameplay rather than just being I've got to kill this first because if it catches me, I'm dead. Do you know what I mean? I feel like with the stealth that they've got in there, it should have worked hand in hand with that. They should have been a much more scary presence than they actually are. And that's what disappointed me because they grabbed me and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is really cool. And then they were just everywhere. They were just one, I was gonna say one a dime. I don't think that's a saying, but you know what I mean.
You mean dime a dozen?
A dime a dozen. That's the one. It just yeah.
Yeah, no, I get you. I mean, like I say, I think for what they're because it's they're more of a threat, but at the same time, the threat is particularly as we get on later. I think the infected will take more and more of a backseat in some areas, but it's supposed to be it's mundane but threatening in that kind of huge. Certainly, that's the way.
They just turn into the brawlers of video games. You know what I mean? I think that's what got me. Is I want them to be a bit more because they're a really cool concept, and it just yeah, it just felt cheap way to make that little section hard, you know.
Yeah. Again, I think probably there's some of that will be down to limitation because one of the things we don't see in
Yeah,
this
of
as well,
course.
that works really well and later in the second game is having not only different enemy types but different groups of enemies in the same place and being able to use them against each other. You don't really get that as much. There's all that they add like a whole fresh dynamic to all that stuff, but again, obviously, that wasn't as doable back then for whatever reason. Technology has moved on.
Technology is the thing.
Aye. But speaking of moving on, we do the same. We get through the houses. We then, yeah, there is one brief interaction with Ellie. If you go upstairs in one of the houses, she has to speak to you for a minute, and then says, "I just wanted to say, yeah, I'm sorry about Tess." And then Joel was like, well, "You don't got to worry about me," and that's kind of
That's it, no, really.
Don't worry about me, kid. Yeah.
he's kind of acknowledging that she's trying to be nice, but also still like, I don't know, like want to be too friendly because then you'll die or whatever kind of mindset. And then we get to the high school, and then the battery isn't there, and we're kind of locked in the high school. We have to make our way forward through more enemies, and then we finally find a big chunky boy hiding in the gym. And this is our first introduction to the bloater.
Is there a specific way you're meant to kill this? Because I just laced it with bullets.
No, after enough bullets, it'll drop, or you can like the quick kill is generally like a few Molotovs and then shotgun the legs. Because its legs are weaker, but yeah, if you bombs and Molotovs go down a lot faster. Or if you've not got any of that, then just keep killing runners to pick up their ammo to go and shoot until it dies.
Yeah, I did kind of farm some ammo from that, but yeah, no, it was okay. Yeah, that school section was quite easy. I thought it'd be a lot harder. I just killed the first two clickers I saw and then just gunned everything down. But I think that's just my gameplay style. Do you know what I mean? It kind of works against the game.
Yeah. Although saying that, I think from once the high school's in sight, you pretty much have to kill everything.
Oh, everything's just coming at you, ain't it? Yeah.
And then when you're inside, I've never got to the bloater from the inside of the school without killing everything because I don't think it's possible to sneak because of those last little group that are just before the bloater door.
Yeah.
They'll spot you even if you manage to get that far. But
yeah, no, it was a cool little section.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think, yeah.
so,
Got out.
And that's also one of only 2 boss fights in the whole game. Because the game doesn't really do boss fights in the traditional sense. It's not because obviously life doesn't come with boss fights, so it doesn't really do that as much.
What you mean? All right, bus driver didn't stop properly for me earlier. That was a boss fight. All right, I wave him down or run. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously you'll have to kind of see what your verdict on it is once we're further on. But for me, that kind of works because I think having a boss fight every like level or whatever would be immersion breaking in that sort because it'd feel more gamey than story.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I kind of wasn't expecting really boss fights and stuff. I was just expecting kind of like the Horde-esque kind of thing, just a lot of things running at you and you get away, which I'm cool with, you know. But it was cool. I liked that bit. It was quite fun.
Yeah, and then after that we run away, and we find Bill's partner Frank in a house having killed himself. But conveniently,
That was quite sad.
He has the battery in the car because he basically. Did you read the notes that he's left to Bill?
He took it just to spite him, didn't he? Yeah. That was good.
There's an option where after you pick the notes up, you can give it to Bill. and he reads it.
Yeah, I give it to him. Yeah,
Well, that's how you feel. Well, fuck you too, Frank.
yeah, yeah. That's good. I kind of like that you can get a bit more if you do a bit of exploring. It's kind of cool, but it's not stuff that takes away from you if you don't do that stuff, which I love, because I'm not really the type of person to be running around. I'm going to be just going A to B. I'm that kind of player, you know.
Yeah, no, I get you. And then obviously at the last bit, we were pushing the car and then shooting the little mini hordes, and then pushing the car more, and then we are out of the town. Is that so? I know you, Dale. You said you played into Pittsburgh, but you saw the next cutscene.
Yeah, I watched into where it starts the gameplay is what I did, because I wasn't sure roughly where it ended. It's a very clear cut as to where that section ends, but I was kind of watching because I wanted to see what happened. You know?
Yeah, I played on a bit further, so yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so I think the last bit that we see, like the rounding off that chapter, is when they're in the car and they're driving away, and Ellie's found the magazine, or she's stolen the magazine.
That was funny. that was a good little moment. That was funny. Yeah.
And then like, why are these pages stuck together?
Yeah, I'm just joking. Oh, that was class. Yeah, no, that was good. Right, I like that little bit. It's that I want to see what all the fuss is about. It made me giggle, and it shows to her like that's the type of character she is. She's a joker.
Yeah. I always felt she was going to be this like really serious character.
Yeah, same.
Like it's really nice to kind of see that she's got
Character.
a bit of something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is like the star of it for me, definitely.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you compare to traditional kind of escort mission games, you've got like the generally kind of helpless. You've got like Ashley from Resident Evil 4, whose whole thing is just like shouting and wailing, "Leon, help!" every 5 minutes in a really way that's really annoying.
Have you seen Leon? I'd want him to help me. What a guy. He's not Chris, do you know what I mean?
Well, she does at the end ask if he wants to do any overtime.
Oh, Leon's getting. Oh God, bro. Sorry.
But yeah, and then obviously like there's what's Amicia's brother's name in Plague Tale?
Is it Hugo?
Hugo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's very helpless as well. It's like very sort of and if you leave him alone for too long, he starts having kind of like
panic attacks almost. Yeah.
Whereas Ellie just is like wandering around, going, "Fuck you."
Yeah, I think it works for certain characters. Like it very much fits Hugo's character, but I think Ellie, like I've kind of said, like it's a good way of showing like her experience in the world, because like if this has been going on for 20 years, she must have been born during this, so it's all she's ever seen, and like it kind of shows that she's very much like grown up in that world. You know, she's gone to the Fireflies. They very much treated her like a Firefly, and like it just kind of shows that she's grown up as a grown up, if that makes sense. Like, she's grown up with loads of grown ups.
She really have a childhood.
Yeah.
But you kind of see her childness come out. She's like, I've never been in the forest, and like the little drops that she's still a kid, and it kind of hits you really well, you know. Yeah. Like that moment in the car, you know, the I want to see where all the fuss is about, you know. It's like a childish thing, and you forget that she's a kid, and then it just kind of hits. I don't know. That's well done. I like that.
Yeah, and then as kind of she goes, "Oh, I'm not tired," and then falls asleep next to Joel.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where we'll kind of put off the gameplay for this episode and stuff.
We're not going to talk about the T-Rex attack.
No, we'll save the T-Rexes for next time. But I mean, what like do you get? Is you can feel. I don't know what you two, but that's where you can feel. I think that the relationship between the two starting ever so subtly to turn. Because that's such a little kid thing to do. Like, I'm not even tired.
I mean, I do that now, to be fair. You know, I'm not out.
So yeah, that takes us through the first. I say first third. It's the first 4 out of 12 chapters. I don't think it's quite even. I think the next 4 is probably going to be the longest section of the game in terms of gameplay and stuff. Yeah, I mean roughly because I was sort of working on. It took me about 10 hours to do, and then I think a good 5 or 6 will have been that middle, with 2 hours for the start and 2 hours at the end, maybe. But yeah, so overall kind of thoughts on where we're up to and what have you experienced so far?
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
I think a lot of the complaints that I have, I'm very forgiving because it's an old game. You know, I do like kind of go on. Like, I think the worst thing about it is the gunplay. It's not the best, but because of the time, I'm not too stressed. It's an old game. You know, I'm going to be forgiven on that. So,
yeah,
it's good though.
I kind of went in expecting it to be more of a story game because it was never like really praised about its mechanics. Like I never. So yeah, I kind of like it's giving me what I expected basically. But yeah, it's good. It's enjoyable. I just want more. I want like dragons and stuff to happen next. That's all. That's what I'm asking for.
Just a nice like I don't know,
fungus dragon.
giant that you got to kill or something. You know, just something. You know, T-Rex attack. You know, something cool. Nah, I'm enjoying it though. I am enjoying it genuinely. I think it's a good game.
Yeah, I think we'll start to see a bit more about Joe on that as well. Hopefully,
hopefully because he's just like a sandpaper character. Like I can't stand. Like I get it, but I just can't stand him. But it works well because I can't really stand myself and I'm playing him, so we kind of relate in that way. Do you know what I mean? But no, I guess what you mean. I guess like at this point you're not supposed to like him. You know what I mean? He's built his walls, and we'll see that all broke down, and then he'll turn into a lovable character. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So obviously where we're going next, we'll be going into Pittsburgh, which I think you're already slightly into, but we will save any discussion of that for the next episode of this show.
Remember.
And hopefully we'll. It's been about a month since we did the initial opening episode. Hopefully the next episode will be a bit more close than that. Maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, rather than like.
It's just finding time to play video games now.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, our aim is to finish this podcast and finish the game before they announce the remake.
We got forever then, really. But it just clicked.
That was good. I like that.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
Yeah, well, that's obviously rumored at the moment. It's been rumored for a while that they're going to be doing a remake, and then whether that's going to happen this year or next, whether it's even happening, obviously is up for it. But a lot of stuff seems quite credible. And then there's the TV show coming out, so they might want to release it, tie in with that, and cash in. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out all that later. But we're not concerned with any of that. We don't concern ourselves with the perils of 2022 and 2023 because we're still in 2013 and we're still, well, no, it's 20...
Oh, that tripped me out. Wait, what? Log into MSN a sec. What's going on?
Although technically this because it's 20 years in the future, so it's actually 2033.
Yeah, fair.
But it's a 2033 that never had that doesn't have like Twitter and Instagram in its past.
They do.
Kill zombies.
I mean, that's do you know, like when people are like, oh, the zombie apocalypse would be awful, it's like people are thinking that because of like the death, and I'm thinking that because of how boring it'd be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? Like,
No,
you're not gonna log onto Twitter and see that people are mad at another person for something else now. Do you know? I'd miss it.
I think if you had time to be bored, you're probably one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not dying early in the apocalypse. I'd put it that way. Do you know what I mean? I'm not stupid.
They probably
I
hear
mean-
you.
We all know that Dale's horror philosophy is as soon as things go bad, leave everyone behind and run away.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be alive. Do you know what I mean? You'll all be dead, not me.
We'll
I'll be dead.
I'll be
Why
dead.
do you feel like that for?
We'll be
don't
dead
know.
specifically because he pushed us in the way to save himself.
Yeah, most probably. Like, you're all cannon fodder to me.
How dare you? How dare you? So yeah, any final thoughts before we wrap things up? Anything more?
No.
Good. Like game.
Game.
Game good.
Game is game.
Game entertain me.
I want food.
I like how much we've regressed.
What's everyone having for dinner?
I don't know.
What is it? What? No, I'm
I feel
gonna
like-
ask in the comments section. What's everyone having?
Fancy like a toasty me.
I fancy like fried chicken, me.
Saucy bastard, you.
I know. Sorry. Anyway, The
Yeah.
Last of Us. Huh?
Well, yeah, okay. So I think it's safe to say that that's it for this week's episode. So next episode of this,
They would have a deep fat fryer in the zombie apocalypse, wouldn't they?
Oh my lord! You wouldn't be able to have fried chicken.
well,
Yeah, fried zombie arm.
Let's go. I love that.
Sorry, go on.
I'm sure as far as technology goes, deep fat fryers are probably one of the things they could salvage. Maybe not the internet, but deep fat fryers.
You've got
Easy.
chicken and the internet.
You just have like everyone searching for survival. Me and Lloyd riding around looking for a what's it called?
Fried gravy.
A generator powerful enough to start up a deep fat fryer for like 5 minutes.
Well, I think on that rather hasty note, that is it for this week's episode. And so next time we will be going through from Pittsburgh through to the university. So be sure to be subscribed and following us wherever you listen to podcasts to make sure you don't miss out. You can find every episode of You Gotta Play This and every episode of UnCapt Gaming, our main podcast, on your favorite podcasting service, and on YouTube, where we can also find additional content like reviews, previews, commentary, and more. And you can also see us live stream in support of Safe in Our World charity the day after this goes live. So make sure on Sunday you head over to YouTube for that.
Amari.
Support the good cause, because otherwise you'll be on Santa's naughty list, I guess. But yeah, all that is linked in the description, so check out that links for that. Find us on social media and join our Discord server as well to chat to us. In short, we are everywhere, and you should join us. Thank you very much for watching or listening, and we will see you next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Have a beautiful time.
Have a beautiful time.